Good evening, everybody, and welcome to WOR. We are right at the end of season 15. We are at none other than Interlagos, the Brazilian Grand Prix for what could be the final time of the season. Can Reece Linton claim the championship tonight? Is that possible? I think is the best way to describe it. Well, I'm going to ask the very, very experienced and the man definitely more in the know than I am, and that's Joseph. Joseph, welcome along to what possibly could be our last race of the season. It's going to be absolutely intense, isn't it?
Yeah, Gareth, thank you. Well, yeah, if you aren't aware of what happened last week, we cancelled Silverstone for Tier 1, so that's in the bin potentially next week, but I think that largely depends on the outcome tonight. So there's a lot that could happen here. All fingers pointing towards Reece Linton taking the title for the first time in crossplay Tier 1, but I don't think it's certain. We've seen a few DNFs, a few slip-ups, so anything can happen.
Well, they are out on track as we speak, and it is wet, isn't it? I mean, Brazil wet is that Glock. It's got it written all over it, hasn't it, Joseph?
It has that finale feel about it, even though it might not be the finale as I just mentioned. Rain in the air, lap times coming in thick and fast in qualifying. And I don't know how changeable the conditions are going to be in the race, but, you know, if it's anything like this, we're in for a classic.
Well, 14 minutes left of qualifying, and we will go to that very, very shortly. But let's cast our minds back to Japanese Grand Prix, where we had a fake Joseph in the commentary box alongside me. It was James, and I say a fake Joseph. James is very, very capable himself as well. But it was Kai Pearson that took victory, with Reece Linton in second in the end, with Matthew Hall claiming the final position on the podiums at Japan there. And well, it wasn't without its controversy, as you saw in the chat there. Where you were watching in the chat, weren't you, in that race? And I tell you what, Suzuka definitely won for the season, really, in season 15.
Yeah, it was. It did come without a few little bumps here and there, but such is Japan, a narrow circuit. The drivers did have to get their elbows out to try and make some moves. But interestingly, Kai Pearson there winning his second race of the season. Neither of them have been from pole position, so we can look into this qualifying session tonight all we want, but we know that Kai is very capable from winning from outside those higher up positions.
And let's go to the standings, and there is a mammoth task for Kai. It's 40 points. I mean, don't count out Matthew Hall either. He has an opportunity, but it's very, very slim. Slimmer than Kai, but still. Kai has 40 points there. That, I tell you what, that is 2 races to go. Have you seen anything in the past that tells you that is possible to win, Joseph, from this stage with 2 races to go?
Yeah, I mean, he needs 2 race wins no matter what. So, I mean, historically, under that sort of pressure, I don't think he's got much chance. But the best thing he can do is just race his heart out and see how close he gets to it, because it, might come close, he might not.
We'll never know until the end of this race, but we could be crowning a new champion tonight nonetheless. Let's get down to the action on track, and at the moment, it's Jerry Van Bussel that's leading the way by 0.4 of a second to our championship leader, and that in itself is a good stat for Jerry Van Bussel, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and Jerry Van Bussel, of course, won the PSGL PS F1 Championship in quite controversial circumstances. May I remind you of OP Gate for those that know about that one. But, he actually started off the season quite slowly in Brazil. PSGL opened their season in Brazil and he only finished 11th. So, he's really managed to fire on all cylinders so far tonight. But with the track ever improving, how much do we read into this?
And that's the thing. This Brazilian Grand Prix has always thrown up something special. And I know we spoke briefly before the stream started about how, is that Glock moments can happen. And they do happen at this track. And this is one of those tracks where it can happen. And it frequently does at Brazil. But we're looking at it, and a lot of people doing multiple laps on their intermediates at the start of this. Is this them setting themselves, bedding themselves in, because we could be seeing a wet race? Is that something we've not really thought of?
I mean, I've not seen any uproar. We usually see it in the Discord. Oh, it's going to rain, it's going to rain. None of that just yet. So whether they're keeping something quiet, whether they're just being a little bit cautious because they're on drier setups rather than an intermediate adaptation at this stage, we usually see that regardless of conditions, because you do want to be on a dry setup for those periods in the race. And should we see any dry running at the end of qualifying, yeah, you are going to need that preferred setup. But at this stage, it just seems a little bit cautious. Nobody's really on edge at the moment. I mean, they are some very good lap times from Jerry Van Bussel and OP Benza into the 14s, but just how low can these lap times go? How much are these drivers willing to risk with still a lot on the line?
And we look at we see Choco down in 11th place. We know how good of a one lap pace person he can be, and 11th is a little bit out of his reach right now. Liam Bowman, we know how quick he can be as well. Down in 10th at the moment, one lap pace. It's very hard to say or to bet against that man, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, looking at the stats this season, Reece Linton has 6 poles. It's going to be very hard to beat him on one lap pace, but there are some drivers giving it a good go, and that is evident with how close actually this pack is from third down, really. 2/10 from third to 14th at this stage. Just TF10 Max jumps up into 4th position as well. He's getting back into the swing of things. I know he's had a change of scenery with regards to an esports team now with TF10. Their console stability is back up. And speaking of TF10 drivers, there's another one. YI Choco is up to 3rd.
Yeah, I said him down into 11th place, and maybe that spurred him on a little bit. But it seems to have done him the world of good. Someone that's had a little bit of an off season, and someone that got a little bit of fame around him, I suppose, is Shizou Tom. He's currently in 13th place. He's not had the best of seasons. There's been a little bit of controversy around him. What can he hope from these final 2 races? Well, possibly final race.
Yeah, I mean, 19 points to his name this season, but his last 3 races have been very good, actually. A P5 in Kota, a P6 in Japan. That's sort of the upturn in form that we would expect from a driver such as Shizou Tom. I know his PSGO season wasn't particularly favourable either, but he can go into this race on fairly high hopes, knowing what he's achieved in the last few, and hopefully kick-start something maybe into next season.
Now, I forget while these guys are throwing themselves around the track as Shizou Tom throws himself into 3rd place provisionally. I'll ask the chat first. Can Reece Linton, can he claim the title tonight, guys? Let us know whether you think that is a possibility. I know we spoke about it, Joseph, just before the stream went live, and I mean he's quick. He's had a good season. Not everything has gone his way. In previous seasons, we've had champions that have dominated, or when they got into that dominator position, they've dominated. But he hasn't had it all his way, has he?
I mean, he's had to come up against a very resilient teammate in Kai Pearson. We've seen that he's had 3 races where he didn't score in a row. And, he's back at the front. He's keeping Sav on his toes. I know they've been long-time teammates in the community, so they're obviously not going to be fighting as hard as maybe other championship rivalries, but he's also had Matthew Hall to deal with, a lot of reserve drivers as well, including the likes of Sam Gamer, not here tonight, but still very high up in the championship standings as well. Had a brilliant fight with M-Racer at the end of the Kota race as well, so it's not been outright dominance that we'd maybe say Max Verstappen's done in real life, but, something would have to go horribly wrong, I think, for him to not win it tonight. But either way, he's got it 75% of the way there, I'd say.
Well, 1.5 hands. Let's say 1.5 hands on the title. Yeah. But, Massa had the same thing in 2008, and he's going through a lawsuit right now. hopefully, Reece Linton doesn't have to go down that route in WOR. But anyway, I mean, and he's, as I said, that he goes pretty much 3/10 clear of Jerry Van Bussel with 5 minutes of this session remaining. He's looking quick. He's done very, very good. At every race this season, he's shown pace. He's shown tenacity. I mean, there was that incident in Spain between him and his teammate, though. Could that come back to haunt him?
I mean, they had an incident on Tuesday, actually, him and Kai Pearson at the first corner in Mexico in the WOR Legacy Division. So, technically, it already has repeated itself, but, you know, it won't weigh on his mind too much. I don't think, considering that, well, they've done it once, they've done it twice. A third time isn't going to make too much of a difference, considering the positions they've both found themselves in.
Yeah, they've done very, very well. Let's go on board with Jeroen then as he comes round turn number 9 and into 10 and 11. And 9, he's looking pretty chilled about the lap, so I don't think he's pushing too hard right now. But an overtaking opportunity, more and more recently, we found at turn 10, isn't it? It's not historically been an overtaking opportunity, but people are doing it more nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. They want to get in front by the time they get to that corner, particularly in different strategic, I should say, conditions, because they want to be closer to a car in front to be able to get DRS. It's just one of those forceful points on the circuit where if you have the grip, you are able to make a move there. But we've seen in real life and in the game where it can go wrong. Lewis Hamilton 2019, the obvious example. But yeah, it is an overtaking spot. It's just about the exit into 9 and then the confidence into 10.
Only 3.5 minutes left of qualifying. It seems like it's one of those qualifying sessions that, I don't want to say, it's definitely not boring. It's just, it looks like it's going down to the set of the final lap. It is down to that final 2 minutes where drivers really have to set the world alight.
Absolutely, and there's no sign of this rain letting up, I don't think. So it is looking very much like the United Kingdom at the moment. Sorry if you're not from the UK, but we've been hit by Storm Babette, which basically means our entire country is underwater at the moment. It's not quite that extreme, but it does mean, yeah, I mean, it does mean that the times aren't going to improve massively. I mean, Reece Linton's found an extra gear. He's rejoining the circuit at the moment. But, you know, it's not going to be huge. It's not going to be about who's out there last. It's just going to be about who's the bravest, really, in these conditions.
Definitely. And this is the sort of track that, you know, we see the real wet weather specialists. We've seen it with Hamilton. We've seen it with Schumacher. We've seen it with Max Verstappen, especially at this track where wet weather, if you can push it just that little bit more, if you can find that little bit extra extra grip, and yeah, it really does make the world of difference. Can any of these guys tonight do anything? It looks like Jeroen has actually just not found any pace and is just driving around in the wet to see if anything can happen to him. His teammate Flopman is up on his lap time and he's just about to come across the line. Is it going to put him into the top 10? It does, but only just ahead of Shazoo Tom.
He can charge up again. He's down to 25% battery, so he'll be straight back on that harvesting mode, and he will get one more lap if he has the fuel to be able to do so. Aurelian has crossed the line and gone 4th, I do believe. Stefano is setting up, I should say, for one more. Mubarak has started his final flying lap of the session. You'd think, considering his battery situation, he always says that he performs a lot better in qualifying when I'm in the commentary box, so hopefully that omen continues tonight. And saying that, he's found a 10th in the first sector.
That is going well. If that's the case, then it's definitely looking like an extra bow in his whatever. I can't remember the saying. Anyway, but it's looking good for Mubarak at the moment. And there we go. Shazoo Jensen has thrown his Aston Martin up into second place. And that could slightly throw the cat among the pigeons for tonight's race.
That's vintage from Shazoo Jensen. A fantastic effort there to stick his Aston Martin onto the front row. Mubarak has 2/10 now, and this should be enough to get him back onto the front row at least. If he's found any more time coming out of Jun Sao, then he might be on for a potential pole position. It'll be unlikely as Aurelian has gone second then, having started that flying lap a little bit later. Mubarak crosses the line. Oh my word, what a final sector. Mubarak to the top, and maybe the omen is real.
Wow, what a lap time from OP Mubarak. But Reese Linton is up on his lap time as well as he heads through turn 12. And this is all or nothing. He's up. He's purple in Sector 2. That's all that he needs to... Well, Sector 2 and Sector 1. That's all he needs to worry about. As long as he hasn't made a mistake into turn 12, he should be reclaiming pole position. He does by some margin.
I didn't improve. Kai will start 9th, and oh my word, there's been a pile-up across the line because Kai Pearson put it into a wall. Liam Bowman's crossed the line and smashed both of them off the track. Meanwhile, Enzo is up to 4th. Joey Van Bussel 3rd still. Shazoo Jensen, who did put it on the front row, down to 6th. Another improvement from NLR Keke, the PSGL F2 runner-up there, and one of the stars potentially of the second half of this game cycle. A few more improvements, including from Louis Valentin, who's gone 8th.
Yeah, some wonderful lap times coming in there, and that's Max throwing himself into 5th place. I was wondering if he could throw himself from 15th, and that's a good qualifying position from him. But can Jerry Van Bussel spoil the Red Bull Reese Linton party as he comes through the final corners? I don't think he is. He's going very slowly and he's going into the pit lane. It surely is Reese Linton taking pole position. Here's Mubarak going very slowly. Mubarak will be very happy though with a front row of the grid here at Brazil.
Yeah, absolutely. Mubarak, I know he mentions his qualifying struggles. I know if anybody watched the race I was doing last night in EOR, how happy he was to come across the line in first in qualifying. He did a little dance around his room, I remember. He started spinning in his chair, so that was interesting. I wonder if he'll have the same reaction tonight. Regardless, though, he's got a part to play in tonight's potential championship decider.
He definitely has. Let's have a quick look down the order then. It's Reese Linton and Mubarak on the front row of the grid. The second row of the grid sees Jerry Van Bussel and Enzo in the Alpine. AlphaTauri, Keke with Aurelian in the Ferrari, 6th and 7th respectively there. Shazoo Jensen in 8th place with Louis Valentine in 9th. 10th going to Stefano with 11th M-Racer. Benza in 12th. 13th to Guli. I'll get that right one day. 14th in Choco. Kai Pearson down in 15th place. That is the one to really look out for. And that is really telling in this championship. I know there's other drivers behind him, but 15th place, Joseph, that's... I mean, I don't want to say it, but surely that's championship over.
It is almost game over. I was mentioning how he can win, not from pole, but I think 15th was a bit too far down on the scale for that one. So he'd need a miraculous recovery, and he'd need Sav to finish, well, 15 points lower than he does to even think about taking it to a final round. So yeah, he's got work to do. How he goes about it, what approach will he take? Soft tyre start, leave it long? Plenty of options.
Yeah, there's definitely options for him, but we're looking at it, and it's looking dry at the moment here in Sao Paulo. And that could be why some of the timings are a little bit different to what we were expecting. Or it could just be that drivers were able to throw a very, very good lap time together in a dry setup in a wet qualifying session. These drivers they're in Tier 1 console for a reason, and that could be why that they are able to do the interchangeable conditions very, very well. Let us know in the chat if you think Kai Pearson can do anything tonight, whether he will make it go that little bit longer. One more race, I suppose, is that the little bit longer. But Joseph, can he do anything, or is this honest opinion now? I know it's hard, but honest opinion.
How many times do you see Reese Linton spinning, throwing away a race? You don't really see it at all, do you? So, if I'm honest, it should be wrapped up tonight and we can get on with looking ahead to next season, because I know all of our other tiers are waiting for it at the moment. So do it for them, Reese. But, you know, Kai, give us a challenge.
Yeah, Kai, let us know how serious you are about this. And then, you know, obviously you mentioned next season. There's a lot of information about Season 16 coming our way a little bit shortly. I'm so thrilled to be giving the information away as well. That is going to be something to definitely look out for. But actually, I tell you what, let's look at the standings one last time. Sav, 40 points from Kai. That is the major point. It was the point that we would... Round one, that's the point. How do the Red Bulls coexist together? And this is how they do.
Yeah, I mean, they've coped so well this season. We're starting. That's a little bit of a squeeze there around the outside for Enzo as he's going to look up the inside once again. I had a slight glitch on my screen. It said everybody was on a used set of tyres. That's not possible. Everyone's still now on a fresh set, and someone on a set of softs. Choco has tagged F7R Stefano, and he's lost a few positions there. Louis Valentin in the walls as well with Shazoo Jensen, who's lost a few positions off the start, 2x2 into turn 10, which we highlighted as an overtaking opportunity, but they're all through relatively cleanly.
Aurelian and Keke swapping positions then into six. Into position 6 is Aurelian there. But not really. Kai Pearson up 4 places there. Let's have a look at the tyres for these guys. Kai and Choco really the only ones that standing out. Everyone else deciding to go for hards. This is really what we expected.
Yeah, I eyed Kai Pearson as a driver that could potentially go for that set of softs, and he has done, and in doing so, he's up into 10th place. Brilliant move around the outside at turn 2 on M Racer, a driver who's had his best Tier 1 season to date. I'm sure he'd agree with that, taking his first win this season. Not an easy driver to clear, and he has done so. It's just how high can he get now on this set of soft tyres? Can he stick with the leading pack? Yeah, that's twice, by the way. Choco has done that down the inside of another driver. But Kai, it's just momentum now. He's overtaken, 6 drivers after the first 2 laps? There could be a 7th on the cards here. So he's using a lot of battery. He's got to leave himself some spare, though, to stick this front train. But there's another move. Louis making it quite easy for him then, because he knows he's not involved in this championship fight. But like I said, about momentum, he's in the DRS of this front train already. He's not lost a thing.
But hopefully the audio sorted itself out. But look in the background there, Choco having a go up the inside into turn number 4 there of the Aston Martin of Jensen, but nothing doing on this occasion. And as you quite rightly mentioned, DRS is required, and up the inside goes Kai Pearson on Keke, and Keke's going to try and hold it, so he's got the inside into turn number 6. Turn into 9, but the Red Bull driver has definitely got it nailed down now, and he's making waves at the moment, but he just needs to make sure those tyres go through the rest of it.
Yeah, he does. I mean, the tyre degradation isn't extreme around here. He can do quite a long stint on these, maybe similar to what a set of mediums can do. So he is right in the game with these guys. He'll get a fairly big undercut as well. He will go for the mediums, as with the rest of these guys as well. So he'll be on the same strategy. It's just about looking after the tyres now, not overworking them when he doesn't need to.
Mobarak's keeping with Reese Linton at the front as well. And he goes to the inside down the Retroposta. Maybe just to clean air, maybe show that he's not ready to fight Reese Linton just yet, because it was on the immediate the exit of the Curva de Sol that he just goes to the inside down the Retro Aposta. So is that would you say that he's just willing to stay behind for the time being?
Yeah, he is. I'm not sure the extremities of why he moves to the left-hand side like that. I know it's just to break the slipstream and, you know, sort of let the driver in front know that you're not overtaking. But he's happy to stay behind. He takes this position up a lot where he's just charging his battery and then will make a decision on strategy, forcing Reese Linton maybe into, you know, going a lap extra, maybe losing on track positions. It's an interesting one, but Mubarak, we'll see how he goes for this. Will he go for the race lead now? Yes, he will. So they're going to start doing the whole swapping game that we're so used to on this year's game.
Yeah, it's typical, isn't it, really, the swap. It does help them, but there is a little bit of back-end wobble there for the AlphaTauri of Mubarak there, and I wonder if that just allows Reese Linton just to get that move back into it. He decides not down the Retro Aposta, but Kai Pearson has just got the fastest lap of the race. I know it's early doors there, and there goes Choco past Jensen as well. But I suppose we should really just stay with the leaders for the time being, because Kai Pearson is right on the end of it as well, and Max could be in trouble. There is no move into turn 6, Ferradura there, as I thought. That's where Kai's liked his overtaking opportunity, into turn 8, not Ferradura. And into turn 10, he has made the opportunity stick on this occasion. Kai Pearson's not hanging around.
I mean, fair play to Max there, actually, because he was half committed to the corner and sort of just turned out of it when he realised that Kai Pearson was sailing up the inside of the sister Red Bull team. So, yeah, it's a good job they've got away there without a collision, but Kai Pearson will very soon see his teammate, and we do have a race on, and we do have the championship potentially reignited, but Max is going to fight this one back. There is contact this time, and Kai maybe just denying Max some room there. But that is our first controversy of the night.
Yeah, that is a very interesting point of view. Gap was given to Kai, but maybe not so much to Max. I suppose this is something we can stew over a little bit later on. But for the lead of the race, Reese Linton has decided to stay behind again. Another lap to stay behind. He just knows he needs to finish quite high up and ahead of his teammate.
Yeah, absolutely. He is in sight, as I say, just 2 positions, well, 2 cars to clear, and then he is going to be on the back of his teammate. Just how they work this one together, you'd think Kai Pearson would get the strategic advantage. He'd be allowed to go forward and try and push on these soft tyres from a team standpoint, but no, I think the drivers would have a bigger say in this one. Considering, well, they are up against each other rather than working together as such tonight. But here comes Kai Pearson overtaking Enzo. He's going to go up into 4th place. Reese Linton was attacking the lead but doesn't commit.
Now, there is 1 car separating the 2 Red Bulls. This is going to be interesting. These hard tyres can go in a hell of a lot longer than anything else, obviously. But here comes Reese Linton. He sees that his teammate's carving his way up through the field. Maybe he decides that it's time for him to go through. There is someone, I think that's that is Max, going very slowly down the Retro Aposta. I wonder if he's caught up in an incident, because Choco has dropped a few places as well.
Yeah, there's been a few incidents so far. Benzo, Tom and Stefano were caught up in one. Axe has had 2 trips into the pit lane alongside Stefano, so a really lonely race from this point onwards for those 2. Looks like Benzo and Tom were able to recover from whatever that incident was without any damage, but Max has just taken out some polystyrene as well, so he's struggling. He's lost momentum now, and this could, for him as well, be a long old race from here.
Yeah, it was definitely something going 3 wide at the exit of Curva de Sol, and that has cost a few people. But here comes M Racer on Choco. Choco looks like he's struggling for any sort of pace, and there's Jerome trying to get involved in this as well. This is 3 wide. Going into turn 1, the Senna S's and the Williams is there. There's a little bit of argy-bargy between the Williams and the McLaren,
Max retiring there in the pit lane, becoming our first one of the night, and Flopman is going for it now on Choco as well. Choco has hit the cliff edge with these soft tyres. He's hit the initial drop-off at least, I should say, but yeah, it's just starting to look like a slippery slope downhill from here. Kai Pearson hasn't been able to really make as many moves as he would have liked, but I think this stage is about charging the battery, looking after the tyres, and he's not falling back so much at the moment.
No, I think just ahead of these guys, Stefano as well. I say these guys, the leaders of the race. They're catching up with a back marker on lap 8 of 36 here, going into lap 9 very, very shortly. Kai Pearson, though, he's going to want to be able to take these softs, for a little bit longer yet. It's not going to be looking ideal for him with if Choco is getting swarmed as he has done. But as Reese Linton retakes the lead of the Grand Prix, the pace is still there for the Red Bull of Kai Pearson.
Yeah, it is indeed. It's hard to really judge the pure pace in a train at the moment, but he is giving some distance to Jerry Van Bussel. Mubarak almost giving Reese a little bit of a bump draft there, so you can see why he is not quite so intent on making moves, because it can get messy. Drivers defending and they don't quite know who they're defending. There's so many cars all in a line ready to follow, but at this stage it's going to be a bit of a dull period. Maybe a few overtakes with DRS here and there, but nothing quite significant until we get to the pit window.
Yeah, the pit window is when things will really spice up, and drivers being on different life as well, a couple of laps difference between tyre life actually really does make the difference. And all of a sudden, Mubarak has struggled a little bit through lap 9. He was 0.6 of a second exiting turn 12, and that he's now caught back up and slipped through. And Jerry Van Bussel's trying to get through as well, and he looks like he has done. There's someone wide in the back down. I think that's Louis Valentine. And Jerry Van Bussel has taken Reese Linton, and Kai Pearson all of a sudden is behind his teammate.
Well, just how vulnerable are you without that DRS advantage? Is Reese Linton going to go back for it? Oh, he's been hit, I think there. Was that Kai? Flicked onto one of the Red Bulls, and they were half sideways. Maybe I was overreacting, but either way, there's a little bit of jeopardy there for one of them, as they do manage to get through unscathed. But I said it wasn't going to be particularly exciting. I take all of that back. Action on lap 10.
Yeah, I think it may be a little bit of the tyres of Kai just didn't help him a little bit. He dropped back a little bit from his teammate, but this is going to be interesting. How can Mubarak handle the pressures behind when you just saw Reese Linton, who had 0.6 of a second of a gap to Mubarak behind him, drop down to 3rd place?
Absolutely. I don't think this will be the end of this fight. Jerry Van Bussel gaining on Mubarak, who is burning his batteries, trying to stay ahead here, and does so by defending the inside. Reese Linton down the inside. Jerry Van Bussel again seeing him coming. It's about smart racecraft now, knowing what to fight. There's no point going wheel to wheel at this stage. Mubarak would just run away with it.
Yeah, and that's not what people want. And up the inside, well, I say people want, that's not what Reese Linton wants. He wants to end his season on a massive high. He wants to win the race with the championship to boot. Kai Pearson had a look into turn 4 on Jerry Van Bussel, but I think Jerry had the better line through that, and he's had another look up the inside of turn 8 and had to concede, as we've got Benza retiring from the session there. He's had enough, but that's there's a little bit of life left in Kai Pearson's tyres at the moment.
Yeah, still going strong, 11 laps in, no real sign of any positional drop-off at this stage. I mean, these hard runners aren't running at full potential either, so like I said earlier, still hard to gauge where these tyres lie in comparison with one another. Shizou Jensen being overtaken there by Emrace, that's before the DRS zone, as they compete for the last points paying position. And he moves into turn 1 in the top 4. Kai Pearson is trying it. He's got the inside of Jerry Van Bussel. That's a squeeze. That's a slide. Enzo's having to take avoiding action in the background there as well. Aurelian has got a fantastic exit coming onto the centre S. Oh my word, that's a Haas. I didn't know if that would ghost or not. Luckily it has, but you could see the drivers there taking avoiding action. Racer's instincts going on here, and still side by side is Enzo and Aurelian up towards Ferradura. They dispute that one, with Aurelian taking 5th.
Wow, that was a very hairy moment as Enzo looks up the inside of turn 8 just to see if he can claim that position back. But that's probably going to give Kai a little bit of a breather, because Enzo was all over the back of him and ready to make the move on Kai, even though Kai had that little bit of a, through the S's, had that back end slip out there and nearly cost him. But thankfully for Kai, he's still within a great shout. But he's 9/10 of a second behind Jerry Van Bussel, and the front three looking like they could make that break.
Absolutely. There's the 1 second gap, all stemming really from that battle between Kai and Jerry Van Bussel. Not really been able to carry so much momentum on that lap. Gilles has overtaken M-Racer there as well. Some great fighting, the low ends of the points, to try and add to these guys' championship tallies. But, of course, our main concern is the race for the Tier 1 Championship tonight. Reese Linton looking to become our 18th different Tier 1 champion. That's across crossplay Tier 1, PS Tier 1 and Xbox Tier 1 as well, back in the day as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe PC as well.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. You might not, I think PC Tier 1, you might have stretched it a little bit there, but you could be right. You could be right. I'm sure Luke will give us all the information, but that is some stat if that is correct. Reese Linton still in with a shout. Kai's caught it back up to this front three as well. He's somehow found some more life in those soft tyres. Choco struggling on those. Flopman deciding he's best off with a two-stop strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure he didn't want to be forced into this situation, but again, he's just going to try and push, do a bit of a quali run on that set of soft tyres. They are fresh because they were unused in qualifying, so he can do some pretty good pushing on those. That's why Kai Pearson has been competitive still on those soft tyres. He's managed to close right back up. We've got a yellow flag. Oh, it's Flopman. Never mind. Forget that.
Yeah, let's move swiftly on as Reese Linton tries to find a way past Mobarak as they come through Ferradura, and nothing happening at the moment for the Red Bull driver. Jerry Van Bussel looking very, very solid, and I have to admit his season here in Tier 1 of crossplay has been pretty solid. I know it's probably not the best he would have wanted for, but he's improved race in, race out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what you want when you know you're not quite going to be pushing at the front. Improvements, steady ones, are always going to be worthwhile. By the way, Enzo's had a slide coming out of turn 9. Tricky corner, tricky traction zone. And in doing that, he's lost a couple of positions. Not
ideal, bless him, but he's still within a shout. He's a great driver, so he should be able to get himself back into the swing of things pretty quickly. As we stay on board with the top runners at the moment, we've got to stay on board with Reese Linton, it feels like, to make sure, and Kai Pearson as well. Got to give them both a shout. They've had a great season, the both of them. Reese obviously having a slightly better one, considering he's 40 points ahead of his teammate and championship rival.
Absolutely. Again, I will argue bad luck, bad connection in that mid-season. But when Reese Linton has stormed to 7 pole positions, looking to take his 4th race win tonight, potentially, in just 11 races, might I add, that is a season that very few drivers can better. Maybe the drivers of the seasons gone by, but, you know, in this sort of situation, just our 2nd crossplay season, yeah, so tough to beat all season long.
Definitely there, gone are the seasons of Otis Lawrence, Thomas Runharsh, Shadow, the guys that really did set the world alight with it. Now we've got a season where really it's difficult to say who is the better driver, because pace alone, they're very, very similar.
Absolutely. I think it's closer than ever in crossplay Tier 1. Got a lot of new guys coming in all the time, people knocking on the door in Tier 2 as well that can put a shift in Tier 1 if they were given the opportunity. So drivers have always got to watch over their shoulders with regards to who's coming up, how they're going to race, and yeah, it just feels like that again this season. A lot of unknowns coming in from PlayStation as well, drivers that have introduced themselves to me for the first time. I don't know about other people, but hearing about them and you go, wow, they're handy behind the wheel.
Yeah, a fair few drivers showing that they are not just there for the ride, they are there for something more. But there's been some great stuff going on at the moment. Does Kai Pearson decide the pit time is now? He's thrown his car into the pit lane. What does he go on? Does he go on a set of mediums? Is that the best thing for him? Is that what you would do? As Liam Bowman gets a 5-second penalty for going into the pit lane?
Yeah, I would. 20 laps, very comfortable indeed to get those mediums to the end. These drivers on the hards will try it in the next few as well. Kai Pearson will get the jump. He'll undercut into the lead, I presume. But can he stay there? Can he do so? Can he defend? It's going to be a difficult task following the jump into the lead.
We'll have to wait and see. Lap 17 of 36 here in Sao Paulo. The Interlagos Grand Prix has plenty of surprises for us still to go. And I wonder if that pit stop there from Kai is going to make some of the... give some jitters to the front guys and go, actually, we need to kind of follow him. We can't... We have to go a little bit earlier than they're planned. I know they will have... Some of them will have their race engineers going, no, don't just stick to the plan. But sometimes your instinct takes over.
Plan A, Plan B, Plan G, I don't know. But at the moment, these guys not reacting to that Kai Pearson undercut, because if you leave it long enough, the overcut can be as easily powerful. So it's just about measuring that. And at the moment, they are just committing to their usual strategy. First track limits penalty of the day. We've not spoken about that too much. It goes to M Racer. 3 seconds, and with 2 cars on his tail, it's not ideal.
Definitely not what M Racer would have wanted, or what we wanted at all. We would have liked to go a little bit longer without track limit warnings here in Interlagos. It's not really a track that we often get warnings about. Usually the Cenaresses is where it happens, and I think that's where M Racer got caught out tonight. But into turn 10, into where Kai Pearson has made a few overtaking opportunities stick tonight. Nothing happening for the front runners at the moment. They're all, the top 7, nose to tail, no action, but maybe a little bit of mind games coming through just to whether when their pits are going to go in.
Yeah, absolutely. Reese Linton. Oh! Oh! I didn't see that.
What? I just saw an Alpha Tower with no front wing and then a safety car.
Well, I'm going to try and clip that back because from what I saw, it potentially looked like Reese Linton wasn't pitting. Mubarak was. Reese was overtaking. Mubarak pulled over to go into the pits, and then there was maybe contact. I don't know. I had a really bad angle. I couldn't quite see it. But just from perception, we've got a safety car because of that. Kai Pearson, who'd already made his pit stop, has not had the full benefit of that undercut. It's one of the risks, and it's unfortunately not going to come to its full potential.
Unfortunately not. But he's only 2 laps. His tyre wear could have been worse. This is so difficult to maintain. I don't know. Are they going to be able to get out in front of? They will get out in front of Kai, won't they?
I think so. But even if they don't, it's a lot easier path to overtake when we go green again than it would be having that huge, undercut to try and combat as well. So it's the race to the pit exit. Louis Valentin is already pit, so he'll be the first car out here. Reese Linton is going to be behind Louis Valentin. So Louis, from 6th, 7th, is into the lead of the race, and that is a genuine position.
And Enzo is in front of Reese Linton as well, which I don't think was the plan for Reece Linton. Actually, to be honest, the safety car wasn't the plan for Reece Linton at all. But Louis Valentine is going to lead this race when the safety car pits. That's not something I was expecting to say in this race.
He's got a Legacy Division win. It came in Monaco. Been a long time since that, couple of months now. But he's now got the opportunity to take his first in crossplay Tier 1. A fantastic opportunity has presented itself. A lot of people levying the blame on Mubarak there. I think we both caught a glimpse of it, and I would have to say I agree. It's, a little bit uncharacteristic of Mubarak to do that, but fortunately his race has ended as a result of him.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I think possibly right. It depends. Part of me thinks that the front wing damage occurred before he went to defend from Reece Linton, which would then indicate more a Mubarak fault as well. I am not going to really pass too much judgment until I see a replay of that, because that is that's an interesting one. I wasn't expecting that tonight. That wasn't a bingo card of what not to expect, and that was up there along with, and no disrespect to Louis Valentine, but Louis Valentine leading the Grand Prix on lap 21.
Absolutely. You can't fault him. He's done nothing wrong tonight, so very much deserves that opportunity to be the leader of this race. But you have to say, both Red Bulls have now been in collisions in this race to some degree, so that's 1-1. I say we neutralise it, no penalties regardless, and continue this race as normal.
Who's going to score the next goal? Anyway, safety car is still out, so hopefully we'll get racing underway very, very shortly. Lap 21 of 36, we've had one incident which has caused the safety car. We've lost 4 drivers, 3 of them deciding to pit and retire. They're kind of kicking themselves at the moment. Stefano has managed to get himself back into the swing of things as well. I mean, the guys that have retired, one thing that I always stick to is you never know what's going to happen, and you never know how often a safety car is going to come out, so you could always get points.
I mean, you can never, ever just predict it. I know in real life the strategists have, on a bit of paper or a Word document, the possibilities of strategy if a safety car comes out on every single lap of the race. They're not doing that. They've got to react each time. Usually that just means going onto a fresh set of tyres. It was everybody's pit window anyway, so there's been no real pit lane dramas, but Kai Pearson, you have to say, is looking the most vulnerable out of everybody. He's already taken a couple of laps of full racing speed out of those tyres. Will that be enough to be a difference? I don't know, but as it stands, Reece still wins the championship regardless.
I mean, at this stage right now, who's winning the Grand Prix?
Well, how do you even say, considering we've just lost our second place man, who was leading, to one of the most bizarre collisions I've ever seen. So, it's hard to judge. I mean, I could see happily 5th place winning this one. Come on, Jerry Van Bussel, you are my chosen one.
Why do I have a why do I have a feeling that you're going to turn around and do the old Obi-Wan, you were the chosen one, to Jerry Van Bussel a bit later on in this stream? Whether that means he takes out Reece Linton or not, I didn't say that. I realise I should be touching wood and maybe not trying to scare the gods a little bit. But the safety car is in this lap. Louis Valentine will lead the group of cars behind him away to enter lap 23. When does he decide to go? This is the question. He's not here. He's barely been here at the front for him to have an idea. But surely he's got people in his ears telling him when to decide to push and go. But we'll wait and see as he rounds into the start-finish straight. And when does that Haas decide to really push it? Everyone else behind is in a straight line. He now goes as they turn through turn 15, and it looks like an absolute cluster in the background with Reese Linton looking like he's going to be mobbed by a few drivers, but he's got the straight line speed. Jerry Van Bussel desperate to try and get through, but nothing doing on this occasion. Aurelian and Jensen fighting away for P6 with the Mercedes of Gulli trying as well, but nothing happening for them. But it's all as is at the moment, Joseph, and less carnage than we could have expected.
Absolutely, a lot of wheels rubbing together, but nothing more than that. No front wings flying, Choco making a move on NLR Keke, potentially a bit of contact there. Flotman looking to go the long way round at Ferradura as well. Some great fighting here from drivers that have been awaiting this safety car opportunity to finally see some more drivers again. That includes Flotman, Stefano and Axe F1. Two of those drivers were 40 seconds off the pack earlier. Choco, who's gone for softs and who can make it to the end of this Grand Prix, as was proven by Kai, has overtaken Shizu Tom as well, but again, some more contact going into Jun Sao, but a desperation on the first lap.
Yeah, a little bit of a love tap, as I like to call them, from Shizu Tom into the back of Choco there, just reminding me there, Enzo's the fastest man on the track at this moment in time, but it's, well, plain to see with how things have been under the safety car, that lap time will go down and down as they go down the Retro-Aposta for the 24th time. In the background, we have Enzo having a quick look at Kai Pearson, but nothing doing at this moment in time. But Louis Valentine should be pretty happy with that. He's on younger tyres than Kai Pearson, same as Enzo. If those guys can do a little bit of a sterling job behind just holding, it could go well for him.
It's a good and bad position. Good in the sense that he's leading this race, but you know, it largely depends on what goes on behind him, including Reese Linton. Oh, that's a brilliant move if he pulls it off. And Enzo's going to try and hold it on the inside. Down through turn 11, he does back out Bavorsian. So, again, drivers just using a bit of common sense there, knowing that's not my race at the moment. And through goes Reese into third.
That is a opportunistic move from Reese, and that is exactly what he needed. Enzo trying to get back at him straight away. The DRS has enabled this lap. Will happen into turn 1. Up he goes, and he has a think about it, but he backs out pretty swiftly, does the Alpine driver. And Reese Linton now all over the back of his teammate, and I don't think it's going to be long. He's side by side as they head down Retro-Aposta, and Reese Linton takes second place away from Kai Pearson, and surely that is an indication to the championship title heading that side of the garage.
I said 75% earlier. We'll say 90 now. I'm almost sure, but, you know, a spin. Kai Pearson stays in the position that he is. It goes one more round, so it is not over, but 90% of the way there. Like I said, he's got 10 more laps before he becomes the WOR Crossplay Tier 1 champion, following Smokey as the first driver to take the Crossplay honours. Yeah, Xbox ruling supreme so far.
Yeah, I kind of want to say Xbox till I die. I love Xbox. Anyway, Reese Linton's still battling away. Look in the background, there's drivers side by side, and obviously we've got a little affiliation, I guess, with the Xbox side of WOR. But it just shows how good this crossplay tier is, because you've only got 2 Xbox drivers in the top 8. That says it all. Xbox doing it large on the championship side, but the PlayStation guys are getting back into the swing of things. They've yet to have a driver really pull for the championship, but time will tell, and maybe the second season here, or in this game cycle, could see something special.
Yeah, I mean, last season I was talking to a few people and they said, well, it's just mostly Xbox drivers. There's always very few PlayStation drivers, but that has shifted so much this season. You have to say fair play to Luke and the coordinators for doing a 10 Xbox, 10 PlayStation split at the start, because it's really been an equal playing field. Obviously, you'd associate, in the past, as Keke's gone around, I think Choco took him with him there as just a separate incident at the back, and, well, a collision between the two platforms, let's say that.
Well, yeah, definitely a collision between the two platforms indeed. And, well, at the moment, it's Reese Linton trying to get past the PlayStation driver of Louis Valentine's at the moment, and it's gearing up to be very much a case of a PlayStation versus Xbox event right now. Who will win the race? Will it be Xbox or PlayStation? There's a lot of PlayStation drivers who have thrown themselves into the mix. And look at the background there. Enzo being overtaken by Jerry Van Bussel, who's on the fresher tyres. But there's a little bit more contact. And look at that. That is not what you want to see between them all. And Jensen trying to find a way past Aurelian in the mix of all this battling.
Yeah, F7R having a couple of drivers involved there. Jerry Van Bussel up to 4th. He was my chosen one. I usually jinx him, but tonight, that might all change. I might actually give a driver some encouragement. Would make a change. Louis Valentine, by the way, has 8 tenths. A magnificent run out in first at the moment. He is a driver that when he is presented first place, he can do the job from there. M races back into the pit lane. That's retirement, and sadly, our 5th of the race.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for M Racer there. Not what we would have wanted. And Moparak being very honest in the chat there. He's fair play. You don't often see that, do you? A driver just, apologize. If it is deemed his fault, he's apologising.
Yeah, I mean, that's, a racer's instinct, defence, regardless. And he was pitting, it looked like. So he didn't really expect Reese to be there. And I think that's a fair enough excuse, at that speed. It is so hard to judge what another car's going to do. But, fair play to him. Mubarak always shows a little bit of class. Put a lovely thing out on social media earlier. Massively appreciate that, as always. But, like I said, he is a driver to own up to those sorts of things.
Fair play to him. Louis Valentine still having a decent gap over the 2 Red Bulls. He's there on merit right now. He's doing a really, really good job. And the 2 Red Bulls struggling with his pace at this moment in time. But who's not struggling with their pace is Jerry Van Bussel. He's trying to find way through Kai Pearson right now. Is he going to make it down the Retro Aposta? He decides not to, but he's not hanging around tonight.
He's not. And I'm feeling a bit smug here because he's looking very quick. And my predictions are wholeheartedly random whenever I just pick out a driver because I'm never correct. Who cares? But Jerry Van Bussel is putting pedal to the metal, as our friend George Morgan would say. And he's going for it. Down the inside into turn 10. Beautiful to some extent. Kai Pearson forced off the track and loses another position to Enzo. Could be one for the steward's room, but I think Jerry Van Bussel had that corner.
I think he did, and I think Kai was just holding on hope. Beyond hope there. And this kind of allowed Reese Linton a little bit of breathing room. I'm sure Reese is definitely reserving some of that ERS as Kai Pearson under pressure from Aurelian as they come through the NRSs, and the Ferrari gets through the Red Bull. The Red Bull has a little bit of contact, and there goes Shazoo Jensen off the track to try and, avoid the Red Bull driver there.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that was almost his race over there. He came back on. The Ferrari wasn't really willing to give him too much room. Heart-in-mouth moment there, but Kai Pearson, like I said, on those oldest tyres of anybody at the moment, is starting to feel the pinch, and it could be a pretty painful end to his championship run.
Yeah, it's not ideal for Kai. That's such a shame. He's had a very tough season overall, really, even being still in second place in this championship, and it's just not gone his way, unfortunately. But Jerry Van Bussel already all over the back of Reese Linton as they head through turns 14 into 15 now and down the start-finish straight. Reese, I'll give him his due. Jerry Van Bussel's looking very, very quick here in Brazil tonight.
Yeah, it's keeping Reese on his toes, who in turn is keeping Louis Valentine on his toes. It's a very tense final 6 laps, to say the least. They are quick ones here in Brazil. Will be about 7 minutes maximum, ladies and gentlemen. We know that there are plenty of you watching for Season 16 news, but you are going to want to stay tuned for the end of this Brazilian Grand Prix as Jeroen gets pushed off the track there at turn number 4. That was contact with Kai Pearson, and he's lost another place to Shizu Tom there. Has Jeroen Jensen nose to tail with the McLaren as well and goes for it from a long way back. Jeroen leaves him the space. Fair play to him, but it's just the case again of a driver has a moment, the driver's behind, sees the opportunity and take it, as Jensen has done with a rear lock, and another forcing off the track moment there potentially.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of a drift from the back end there, as Jeroen, the McLaren driver, really struggling. He's dropped down to 13th now as his teammate passes as well, and not ideal. Let's go back up to the front, because Reese Linton looks like he's struggling at the moment. He just doesn't look like he's got anything that can combat Louis Valentine ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a waiting game. Reese Linton has more ERS. Louis Valentine still has enough to defend. That's the way I see it. It's not a massive difference between the two, but the DRS is usually enough to take it on the final lap. Reese Linton will only go for it if Jerry Van Bussel makes him in these next few laps, I think, as Shizu Tom clears Kai Pearson there as well. He doesn't have to take any risk, Reese Linton. Doesn't have to win. Great if he did. It'd be his 4th of the season, but he knows the position his teammate is in. He'll be well informed. He knows it's almost there.
And that was a wonderful move from Shizu Tom up the inside of turn 5. Okay, Kai Pearson's probably lacking a little bit of grip, but that takes nothing away from Shizu Tom there. And what a move. Did I call him Shizu Thompson by chance? Am I just losing the...
I just filtered it out if you did say Thompson, so I wouldn't worry about it.
Fair enough. Let's go back to Reese Linton as he has a look a little bit on the Haas of Louis Valentine on lap 33 of 36. Only 4 laps of racing remaining, and we are here at that point now, and it's a very interesting one, as really from the exit of the Senna S's and the Curva de Sol, it's a struggle for Reese Linton. He just seems to... He doesn't have the same power output as the Haas ahead of him.
No, he doesn't. Whether that's a downforce thing, I don't know. The amount of wing angle on the car in the setup menus, but either way, I still wouldn't read anything into it until the final lap of the race. We know that Reese is not one to just go for it on every lap. He is well measured. That is why he's in this position. Knows all about his setup craft as well by now. Very few will lay access onto his setups unless you just nick it off the time trial menus, of course. I'm guilty of that sometimes, just to have a look, see what I'm doing wrong. But,
No.
Oh, you are joking.
What's happened here to bring out the safety car? And are we going to see drivers flock to the pits to set us off? And someone that has possibly throwing away a podium position is Jerry Van Bussel.
I tell you what, I don't think he has, because look at the amount of drivers that have responded behind. He'll be sick with surely a free pass on some of these guys. There'll be no more DRS. I'm just still baffled to where this safety car has come from. Who is rigging this race at Codemasters? Luke is getting in contact with those at the moment to make sure this race ends under a safety car, I think. But no, that's daft, obviously. But Jerry Van Bussel, you go for it.
Wow. What are we going to see in possibly the championship crowning race? Louis Valentine. If this would be his first victory in Crossplay Tier 1, or will we see Jerry Van Bussel come through the 5 cars ahead of him to claim what would be his first Crossplay Tier 1 championship win? Or
yes,
will Reese Linton manage to do something spectacular? We're going to have 2 laps worth of racing here in Interlagos, with Louis Valentine deciding when to go again. Will he leave it as late as last time? Will he decide to go a little bit earlier this time? Will he mix it up? As the drivers behind have all caught up, Jerry Van Bussel has to get past a fair few cars, But Reece Linton's got to be careful here. He can't really drive alongside the Haas. That is now against the rules here in F1, which is interesting. It looks like Aurelian is trying to get past Jerry Van Bussel, though, and surely that's going to be counterproductive for the Ferrari driver. He's going to want to follow till the last lap.
Yeah, the soft runners just need to stick with each other. If they fight, they're not going to be able to carve through the medium runners if at all possible. Flotman's made a mistake. Gio Gilles, is he going for it? Oh, it looked like he might do. Jerry Van Bussel has around the outside of Max F1 at turn 4. And there's one car down. If he overtakes 2 more, he's back in the position he was with the best tyres of everybody. This could be the most sensational, unprecedented ending to a race we've had in a long time. And Jerry Van Bussel is up to 4th. I'm very excited because I said he'd win for whatever reason. I didn't think it'd be like this. But he's got a lap to go. No! He's around almost. No, no, no. Oh, no. There was contact there.
Oh, my goodness me.
Oh.
There is a huge crash in the background. Yellow flags everywhere. Shazoo Tom, though. I don't know. I'm not. I feel so sorry for you, for your call. You were hoping for something. I don't think Shazoo Tom's going to get through it. But look in the background, foreground, sorry. Reece Linton and Louis Valentine battling away like there is no tomorrow. Defensive goes Louis Valentine as they head down the Retaposta into turn 4. Louis Valentine's going to hold strong. Shazoo Tom, though, is right behind them. Are we going to see Shazoo Tom win for the first time in crossplay tier 1 here? And Joseph, I'm certain you are absolutely fuming in that commentary box alongside me right now.
Well, I don't want to be, because this is the battle that could potentially win the championship for Reece Linton, and he's still alongside Louis Valentine. Oh my word, he's off the track. Shazoo Tom has got nowhere to go other than attempt to switch back at turn 10. But look who's up the inside. Kai Pearson. It's going to be a 4-way drag race to the line. There's no DRS. Reece Linton's been overtaken by Tom. Louis Valentine wants to let them all through. It's a drag race to the line. Kai Pearson could win it because he's got the run on all of them. Oh my word, he's going to cut the corner. Oh, he almost spun out there on the inside. Tom's won it, Water.
Oh my goodness me. I don't think anyone would have said Shazoo Tom at the start of this, but my goodness me, what an end to the race. I still think it's almost certain that Sav has claimed the title here tonight, but Shazoo Tom, hands down, took the meat off the bones. Fair play to him. Wow. Talk about an end to the race, Joseph. That was absolutely insane.
What on earth did I just witness? That was the best ending I've seen in a long time from a WOR crossplay tier 1 race. Shazoo Tom has won it for the first time since his PlayStation tier 1 days. He's won in WOR tier 1, and that is some way to do it. Either one of those 4 could have won it. I thought Kai Pearson had the run, but he had to cut the corner. I think he made the wrong decision going to the inside and finishes 4th. But we should crown our champion. Reece Linton, congratulations, my friend.
What an end to the race. Let's go down the order quickly. Your podium sitters tonight. Shazoo Tom maybe cruelly taking away a first victory from second place man Louis Valentine. Reece Linton rounding out the podium finishes with Kai Pearson in fourth place going to Enzo, Guli in 6th, 7th to Choco, 8th to Aurelian, Keke in 9th, and 10th going to Flotman. Stefano, Jensen, Axe, and Giron rounding out the finishers. M Racers, Jerry Van Bussel, out of the race. M Racer, Mobarak, Bowman, Benza, and Max retiring from the session early on. And I have no way, no other. That's not the screen I really want right now. The standing is gone. We have our champion. Sav is the champion. Reece Linton, whatever you want to call him. But what did we witness in that last 2 laps?
I have no idea. I actually have no idea. I've lost my voice. Excuse me. Yeah, I was watching Jerry Van Bussel carving them all through on the soft, sorry, and then there was a massive pile up, and people that were nowhere near have finished in the points. So there's so much surprisement going on at the moment that it's an impossible one to debrief, really.
2.5 tenths of a second separating the top four. I mean, when Brazil does it right.
It does. I said it had that finale feel. Whether it was our final crossplay tier 1 race of the season tonight, possibly. It depends on what the drivers want to do next week. But either way, I want more. I want more. I want next season.
Give us season 16 now. And on the subject of season 16, we will be getting there very, very closely. Very closely indeed. But we are going to just see if Sav decides to join us in the waiting room to discuss season 15 as a whole, because I tell you what, it wasn't... It did feel like it was going to be a Red Bull, but we never knew which one until possibly the final, like these last few weeks.
Yeah, it's been a ridiculous storyline, frankly. I mean, I remember back to Belgium, which only feels like a few weeks ago. Kai Pearson took pole position. Sav took the victory. They were both on very different strategies in mixed conditions, and then they were just alternating for a few races, and then that downward spiral, I should say, kicked in for Kai, and then I think Sav was just too far ahead at that point, but his driving has been flawless.
I'll tell you what, let's head to let's talk about Brazil, and let's get our race winner. Like, we haven't had it feels like forever we've had a podium interview this season, and I mean, what better way to possibly end the season and have a man as a legendary status as Shizou Tom to come join us for this one, for what would be an incredible race victory. And Joseph, I'll let you take over for podium interviews for him.
Well, Tom, first of all, congratulations. I bet after, a rough start to the season, you've had some better form recently, but I didn't think you were going to cap it off like that with a victory. How did you do that?
Well, through sheer luck, to be honest, but yeah, definitely been a pretty shambolic season, and then shambolic again today when, you get, taken out by interesting racing standards, and then actually getting rewarded for not just retiring in the pit lane, which is nice. And then, yeah, that last safety car just stayed out of the way of incidents, to be honest. And then, yeah, going on to the last lap, I had more battery by a long way. They were both flashing, so yeah, I just had to get him on the last straight. And it was crazy. I don't know how I managed to not crash.
I mean, what are your thoughts on these safety cars? Because I know Reese was saying they're ridiculous, drivers are just getting lucky, but when nothing really happens, it's hard to know as a driver what's the cause and whether you deserve to be in that position. I'm not saying, you deserve luck. I know you say that you're unlucky quite often, which we know is the case, but what's your thoughts on the safety car debate as a whole?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with the fact that safety cars are pretty awful. I usually ask for leagues to put it to reduced because it ruins a lot of racing, with the strategy just being thrown out the window and people getting lucky from safety cars after losing out with their own mistakes. But times like that where you get your at the back through no fault of your own and you stay in it, you're rewarded with a safety car. It's not that bad, but I do feel for the guys at the front who lead the whole race, and then safety car comes out at the end and sort of throws it out the window. So, but after the amount of times it screwed me over, you got to be on the other end of it at some point.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. Congratulations again, Gareth. I'll hand it back to you.
Tom, just one last question from me here, and you going into the final 2 lap, the safety cars just come in. You've done half a lap, and all of a sudden, from I think 8th or 9th, you're in 4th place and you're just overtaking 3rd for a podium. Did you ever think a victory was on the card when you entered the Senna S's and the Curva de Sol?
Well, going on to the last lap, I was hoping the softs would carry me towards the front, but then on the straight into turn 4, I saw both Louis and Sav flashing, so I knew from that point the win was on, because I still had 50% battery, and on the last straight, that was crucial. I could just fly past them, which is what happened in the end. But yeah, it was so close with all the contact going on in the middle sector that I got away with the win somehow.
Well, congratulations for your victory here tonight in season 15. It's been a long time coming. You've shown glimpses of great pace, but luck hasn't been on your side, I don't think. But congratulations nonetheless, and hopefully see you in season 16. But for now, good night, Tom, and congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Right then, Joseph, what? I tell you what, I'm not even going to do some long spiel to get us into this, out of this race or whatnot. I'm just going to go straight to it. Let's talk about season 16, because that is around the corner. I say around the corner. It's that's the wrong screener. Sorry, guys. This is the season 16 calendar for PC Tier 1. It is an insane calendar. It's looking absolutely beautiful, and that is just PC Tier 1. I mean, look at it: Bahrain, Britain, Las Vegas, Texas, Mexico, Belgium, Austria, Netherlands, Qatar, Abu Dhabi, and then season ending at Saudi Arabia. How do you like that? That's a decent season, isn't it?
It is a very decent set of races indeed. A few sort of new additions. I mean, I know Las Vegas was heavily scrutinized, so that is sort of a fixed up one with regards to the PC Tier 1 calendar. Looking ahead as well to some races under the lights in Qatar, Abu Dhabi and Saudi Arabia. Of course, we look at this calendar and we go, what about F1 Esports? Well, you can sort of guess based on that where the drivers might well end up. It's an unannounced thing at the moment, but it will give the drivers some valuable preparation, I'm sure.
And that takes us perfectly onto the PC No Assists for Season 16 calendar, doesn't it, really? Because it's looking very, very similar.
Yes, with the inclusion of Monaco, of course, which... You put some PC no assist drivers around Monaco, you're guaranteed some chaos. So that's an interesting one. Singapore as well always serves up a treat under the midnight lights. And then unlike the Tier 1 side of things, it's not a finish under the lights. It's Belgium, Austria and China for some different additions to the calendar.
And something more for us on the Xbox side, or the console side, I should say. It's looking very, very similar again. Look at that. Bahrain, Britain, Monaco. Again, Monaco. I mean, before we go any further, Monaco on a league race stand. Your thoughts on that, just as a whole, because it can go one of two ways.
It can, and we've had it in the Legacy division twice now as season openers, and both times I think the guys have really enjoyed it. So I can see why it's made a move back onto the console calendar. I'm personally really looking forward to that. Las Vegas after, though, maybe less so, because of the close concentration of carnage in that part of the season. But it just means that phase is going to be so crucial. If you lose out there, you're going to lose out for the whole season, I think.
Definitely, that. And it's just before the Christmas break as well. There's the three quite crucial...
Yes.
Races, isn't there? You've got Monaco, Las Vegas and Texas. Crucial races just before Christmas. Then everyone has a break before we head to Singapore. I mean, that can, cause some people PTSD.
Yeah, I mean, it can do, but equally, a nice break over Christmas. I think we've had attendance problems across the board, so I think the last thing we want is make drivers race over Christmas. So, yeah, it'll be a nice break back into the swing of things for essentially the second half of the season, so drivers can come back after that break as well and be completely re-energized, fly back up the championship order, regardless of what tier they're in. So, could be a very fascinating season.
And I hear you ask, when are sign-ups? And well, not specifically for you, but sign-ups are live. They are ready to go. And then I hear you ask, how do you do it? What do you sign up? Here we go. Join our Discord. Join the WR Discord. That's the main thing you really need to do. If you're not on the Discord by now, where have you been? I guess is the best way to describe it. But on the screen here is how you sign up. This is how you get into WR. There are so many leagues, so many great things here, Joseph, isn't there? There's whether you've got assists or whether you use assists or whether you don't, whether you're PC, PlayStation, Xbox, it caters for everything.
Absolutely, and this is slightly simpler than the Season 15 sign-ups. There's no evaluation race, so to speak, the whole Grand Prix thing. The new drivers must complete 3 time trials. Returning drivers, that will be most of you, complete 1 time trial. And then with the screenshots, you can be placed accordingly. Very simple, very easy to do. The bot will be active as well in the server. Any questions, you know who to ask, any of the coordinators. And yes, happy signing up. We look forward to seeing you in Season 16.
We definitely will do. And let's just go down to we might as well showcase the PC Tier 1 side because, that is where it's at. You've got some of the best drivers in the world on not PlayStation, sorry, PC there. And actually, let's move away slightly. Let's just go back to our faces because your face is beautiful and mine is acceptable. That Brazilian Grand Prix, that it had everything. If the season ends tonight, it had everything we needed to, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, how often do you see a safety car come out with 3 laps to go? Quite often, actually, but when you don't know the cause, and when you give half the grid soft tyres and half of them mediums, it's a recipe for chaos. Shizutom prevails, though. He's happy to prevail, but also acknowledges that it was a bit of a lottery there at the end. So, fair play to everyone. It has been a magnificent season if that was the end tonight, and as always, a massive pleasure to be a part of.
Thank you so much for tonight, Joseph. And what I will do is give you just that last Season 16 information one more time on the screen. But from a console Tier 1 side, it has been absolutely phenomenal tonight. We have had a wet qualifying, which somehow we've forgotten about with all the chaos from the race. And that just tells you how good a race it was. And we had the carnage in the race, we've had controversy, but we've had one man succeed, one man prevail, and that is Shizutom for the first time in console Tier 1 history. Congratulations, Shizutom, but it's not about him. We've got a new champion, and that man is Reese Linton, and he has done an absolute fantastic job throughout the season, and it's, it's pretty much done and dusted here in console Tier 1. We hope to see you soon, and we hope to see you in Season 16 when it comes live as well. From Joseph and myself, thank you so much for viewing this season, and we hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.